Friends, welcome to my live stream. And in this business section, we discuss about the management issues. And we have been talking about what Mahabharata teaches us in terms of management lessons. Because we can read Mahabharata as a religious book, or we can read Mahabharata as an epic, or we can also read it as a history book. But do we gain any knowledge from that? Especially if you are in business and in 21st century, if you're running your business, what are the learnings that you can gather from Mahabharata? And today, very important lesson that we have, which is about Arjun. So before I start, I would like to tell you that if you join our member, and you can see there is a join button down below, just down below me, and if you click on that, you can get access to the membership plans. And if you become a member of our channel, you will get access to member only live streams and member only videos, which are very finely curated for skill development and learning. So don't go this particular avenue go away from your hand, slip out of your hand. Please click on the join button, join our membership, and let us continue talking about Arjuna. So the topic, as I said, is about learning and development. Now you would say that what Mahabharata has to talk about learning and development. So I would like to tell you that Mahabharata has everything about learning and development. Let's say Arjun. Well, Arjun was such a great character that he grasped everything in terms of every ounce of knowledge that he could gather while he lived throughout his life. And he is not the only example. I mean, I have discussed about Pandavas, why Pandavas were different than Kauravas. So if you want to know more about those aspects, you can actually visit our channel and watch those videos in terms of management lessons. But today I will only focus on Arjun, just to draw the example of how Mahabharata teaches us about learning and development. And that example should teach all of us sort of a Arjun as a role model. So you know that Pandavas were born in while they were in forest, and they were never given their dues until the Mahabharata happened. So what Pandavas, these five brothers, were doing all this while? So as I said, Arjuna was trying to grasp every bit of knowledge. And why he was trying to grasp it? Because when eventually the battle of Dharmayuddha happened at Kurukshetra, Arjun played one of the pivotal role in deciding who will win and who will lose. Even though Kauravas were more than twice the size of Pandavas in terms of their sheer numbers, and also in terms of sheer number of warriors, and also in terms of resources, they were much bigger. So odds were totally against Pandavas. However, during the battle, Kauravas completely diminished and Pandavas won. And this is because throughout their life, they were actually grasping every bit of knowledge. And today we are talking about Arjun. So he grasped a lot of knowledge, and he played a pivotal role in shaping the outcome of the Dharam because he actually eliminated a lot of enemies. He created a scenario where the Pandavas actually won the battle. And obviously he was led by Krishna as his mentor. So right from young age, in the boarding school, because in those days the students did not stay at home. Once you attain the age of 5, as per tradition, you will be sent to a boarding school. Education was provided only in the boarding school format, not in a day school format like we have today, where students go to the school in the morning, come back in the evening. Or in today's basically environment, they are not even doing that. They are learning online. But in those days, it was compulsory for every youngster to spend from 5 years of his age to 15 years in a place called Gurukul, which is essentially a boarding school where everyone will learn not only education, but they also learn living skills, survival skills, how to basically know nature, what you have to do if you encounter certain things. So basically common knowledge in real time scenarios, and also application of the common knowledge was given to the students in the Gurukul system, which was prevalent across Indian subcontinent, because India of today is probably less than half of what India of that era. So India of that era was quite big, starting from Afghanistan and going up to all the way to uh, Indonesia. So in all these areas, the Gurukul, which is the boarding school, was prevalent, and there was no classification when they are at school. Everybody will have a similar lifestyle. So if you are a son of a king, you will have a different different quarters. You will have a different treatment. That was not the norms of the boarding school, or Gurukul as we call them. So they have to basically live like a very normal person. Each one will get the similar treatment. There is no special treatment provided. So during this phase, Arjuna emerged as his teacher's best disciple. In fact, his teacher was Dronacharya, and Arjuna, even though he was royal and there was no need for him to learn, keep on learning, but it was in his nature to grasp every bit of knowledge. So whatever Dronacharya had to teach Arjun, he grasps that, and in fact he grasps that so well that he was even better than his teacher. So a teacher feels very good when his disciple learns more than what he is more than, and then becomes expert in whatever he has taught him in the 10 years time. So Dronacharya always said that Arjun is his best disciple, and among thousands and thousands of students studying in Dronacharya's school, yet Dronacharya always said that Arjun is his best disciple. So number one thing is that Arjuna grasped every bit of knowledge. That means he had a hunger to learn, and that is what we should be doing also in today's environment. If you are running your own company, you should have hunger to basically gather market knowledge. If you are expert in certain areas, say for example, if you are a politician, you should have hunger to understand what kind of challenges you are going to face, what is happening in your ecosystem. And if you don't have that fire in the belly, then you will never be as expert as Arjuna. That means that your aim is to become like Arjuna, so that you are expert in everything. You will be very knowledgeable, you will be very calm, you will have answer to every threat or every challenge that comes across your way. And that is what the Arjuna did. He grasped every bit of knowledge right from his childhood. Now, after he became 15, in those days, 15 was the age when a person becomes adult. And at 15, you are considered as an adult and marriageable age. Unlike today, where we have some debate around the age for the adulthood. However, at the age of 15, it was customary to give Guru Dakshina. Guru Dakshina is the student will actually show gratitude and give some gifts to his teacher. So, we have never done that. We have, apart from saying thank you to our teachers when we left school, none of us have actually shown any gratitude for which our teachers have actually taught us. And, believe it or not, when I say that we are all byproducts of our collective efforts of our teachers, isn't it? Don't you think so? So whatever we know today is all because of our teachers taught us. But we don't show any gratitude. We think that it was their job. Our job was to basically learn whatever we can, and there is no special bond between teachers and the student today. But in those days, it was customary for it. Once you finish your study, a student has to give something to his teacher, and it is not that he has to get it from his parent or from his royal coffers and give it as a gift. The tradition was that it was responsibility of a disciple to ask his teacher, what do you want, and I will get it for you. So it was not something that I want to give it to you. It was that, please ask dear teacher what you expect from me and I will do it for you. So when the time came, Dronacharya knew that Arjuna is very, very capable, and therefore he had an old enemy who was a king in the nearby kingdom called Panchal, and people knew that the king of Panchal, his name was Drupad. He could not be defeated simply because he was expert in camouflage arts, and people never knew where the actual person is. However, Arjuna, since he grasped so much knowledge and he knew exactly how to fight this kind of threat, basically how to know your enemy where he is, and he single-handedly defeated Drupad and presented to his teacher that, look, you ask for the Guru Dakshana, and here it is, I am giving it to you. So successfully at the age of 15, he defeated a very, very powerful king, Drupad. He was basically king of a large kingdom called Panchal. He was called Panchal Naresh, and people used to get scared of him. So Arjuna, being a young boy from today's standards, went there, defeated the king, brought him in chains in front of his guru, and then later his empire was divided into two parts, and that was that is not the learning that we have today. We are only focused on learning and development. So let's move ahead. At such a young age he achieved such big thing simply because he utilized his time during his childhood days to learn as much as he could, and that is why he could when the time came at the age of 15, he was able to defeat Drupad. Then many things happened. There are more learnings. I'm not covering each and every aspect of Mahabharata, but I'm only picking up some hand-picked points in the epic. And that point is the marriage with Draupadi, who was the daughter of Drupad. Now, this is very interesting. The person who got defeated by Arjuna, he realized that this man is the most powerful man of the entire universe, and he had a very beautiful daughter. Her name was Draupadi. Draupadi was a daughter of Drupad, and Drupad wanted only Arjuna as his son-in-law. So what do you do? So in those days it was customary for women to choose their husband by planning different exercises and different games, etc. So a very difficult event was organized, so which can be only won by Arjun. Why? Because Dronacharya mentioned that he is my disciple who could actually perform that kind of activity where in the entire universe, nobody could perform that kind of an act. Very briefly, I will explain the act just for for the knowledge sake, but I'm sure everybody knows it. See, you are supposed to hit the eye of a fish which is rotating quite high on a pole or something, and that image is visible in a pond. You're supposed to not look directly onto the fish, but you're supposed to fire an arrow up while looking down, looking at the mirror image in the pond which is being casted in the water below. And that is very difficult, and on top of it the fish is rotating, so you're not looking at the target directly, you're actually doing that. So only Arjuna could do that, and that is why event was organized to conduct the marriage for Draupadi. Now, first of all, is it not quite understandable that you have defeated a man, your enemy, and he feels that you are the best man? Imagine a situation like that where your competitors today start saying that, hey, you are my competitor, but I respect you, and I respect you so much that I will like you to have a family relationship with me. So this is something that Arjuna achieved because of his hunger for learning and development. Because if he had not learned so well, he would not have won that event and eventually became son-in-law of Drupad. Remember, he was his arch enemy, and he became his son-in-law. He married Draupadi, who was very beautiful, considered to be the most beautiful woman in the world at that time, and everybody wanted her. And she was also very intelligent, very clever woman. So every king wanted her to be his queen. Eventually, Arjuna won that event and got married to Draupadi. All because of knowledge, all because of development, skill development. So that is why it is so important. Now let's move to the more sinister event, which is about the Draupadi Chirharan, which is also known as Draupadi Hastinapur incident. Now here, Arjuna, being such a powerful man, he had knowledge of all kinds of weapons, celestial weapons, etc. But during this incident, he kept his calm. He basically did not intervene. He could have intervened, but there were a lot of political issues at that time, and if he had intervened, the result would have become something different. So the knowledge of when to intervene, even though it is becoming such, this incident is causing so much sorrow and so much harm to you, so much bad blood is being created. You can actually get up and stop all that, and you can eliminate all the threats immediately. But he did not do that, because he was on the right path, and that knowledge is very important. So this is also what we can learn about this. The restraint that all the Pandavas showed at that time was mind-blowing. And in today's environment, when we look at our own scenario, we don't show that kind of a strength, mental strength today. That, I mean, if you imagine that situation happening to you, you would definitely lose cool even before the incident had started. Whereas in case of Pandavas, they restrained themselves, and this restraint will come only with knowledge and with experience. So I think that is a big learning for all of us, especially if you are in business, that if you have more knowledge, you can then start seeing what will happen in near future, or in short term, in long term. That kind of wisdom will happen with knowledge and your learning and development only. So from this incident, we gather that. Let's move to the next one. Well, we know that Pandavas were exiled not once but twice in their life. So until the battle started for Dharma, they were mostly in exile. Once for about 12 years, next for about 12 years. So 24 years, all in all, they were out in the jungles. And they must have got so many different experiences. During this 24 years time, they had to not only survive, they had to basically move around for resources. They had to move around and arrange for food. They had to probably sometimes go without food. They had to also, first 12 years, they had to also look after their mother, Kunti. Next time they went alone, only Pandavas and Draupadi, but they were all together. And you can imagine, what kind of hardship they would have faced. And when you face hardship, you actually learn new things. And I think that is why there is a big difference between Kauravas and Pandavas, because Pandavas were learning, they were developing, whereas Kauravas were living in their palaces and they were not learning new things. The kind of experience Pandavas were getting, the kinds of association they were making while they were in exile, they were going from place to place. They were meeting several tribesmen, they were meeting several kings. They were sometimes they had to fight, sometimes they had to survive. Whole lot of experience. I mean, Mahabharata is filled with those kind of stories, and therefore, 24 years is a very long time. So first 10 years you were in Gurukul, you learned, and then 24 years you are still learning. So you see, there is a big difference, huge difference between two competitors, which is Kauravas and Pandavas. And this is exactly what I want to draw your attention, that more experience of the field you have, more experience you will actually be able to impart to your organization. So field experience is very important. I mean, if you sit in the boardroom and only work on the spreadsheets, then eventually your knowledge will not be sufficient. As the time moves along, you will not have a sort of a wisdom. It cannot move along with the changing needs of the time. And the ultimate learning is the Bhagavad Gita. Now, I don't want to basically give any religious sermon, but couple of facts from Gita which were told by Bhagwan Krishna to Arjuna just before the start of the Mahabharata or the Dharam Yudh. What happened was, Arjun saw all his relative in front of him, and he says that I cannot kill them, even though he was a pivotal warrior in the entire battle. If Arjun had moved out of the battlefield, Pandavas had nobody to face the Kauravas. So Arjun was the only one who could defeat all of them together. And seeing that, his mentor Krishna said that, look, I will tell you a couple of truths about this universe. He said that the result of what you do is not in your hand. That is the biggest learning of Bhagavad Gita. And as I am trying to tell you that I'm not giving any religious sermon, I'm only trying to give the practical aspects of what we learn from Mahabharata. And isn't it true that whatever action we take, the result of that action is not in our hand? It could be good, it could be bad, but we don't know what is going to happen. All we have to do is we have to do our work in the best possible manner. And if we don't do that in the best possible manner, the result will not be the best for you. So you try to do your work in the best possible manner, still you will get a defeat. You have done everything from your side, but you don't get the desired result, simply because the result of whatever action you're doing is not in your hand. So Krishna says that, it is not, you don't have control on the events. So you have to play your role. That is very good learning from Krishna for Arjun. And Arjun understood this, and he came back to the battle, and then he fought that battle. He understood that, I have to do my karma. If I don't do my karma, I will not be forgiven by history. So he has to perform his karma, whether good or bad. The result of that karma, outcome of that karma, is not in his own hand. It is in the hand of nature. All right. So that is the biggest learning from Bhagavad Gita that we get. And this is a dialogue only between Arjun and Krishna. Very, very specific. So at this point, Krishna was his teacher. So that we must understand. And eventually the Kurukshetra battle started, and the battle lasted for 18 days. Many things happened, but Pandavas prevailed always. Pandavas were victorious in the end. They survived the battle. They eliminated the entire Kaurav army. Everyone, every soldier, everyone on the Kauravas side who were in the battlefield died within 18 days. Whereas Pandavas survived, they won the war, and they established the rule of law, which we call Dharam. And the falsehood lost. And Kauravas got defeated, they got killed, they got eliminated, and with them, the falsehood also got defeated. That is the kind of learning we get. And I think these are very good management lessons that we can gather from Mahabharata. We should inculcate these simple lessons, because simplicity is very, very essential here. The situations and the issues are not very complex. If we understand them with a simple mind, and that we know that exactly what is right, what we have to do, then we know exactly where we are, what we are doing wrong, where we are doing right. And as a management student, as a management professional, you will never go wrong, and you will always tend to take right decision. So friends, what do you think about this subject? Do you think this is something that we must learn, or you have any suggestions, any comments? Feel free to write back. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you very soon again in the next one. Bye for now.